Well, it's time for another casting tutorial. In this video, we'll be covering the process of making a cast rubber cosplay logo for a unspecified superhero that might happen to have the initial of R. So in order to cast this in two colors, we're going to be using two different iridescent powders brushed into a silicone mold. Now, first off, mold requirements. For this, we typically want to use a fairly soft silicone mold. You'll find that softer silicones grab those powders better than firm silicone molds. So here we're using one of our favorite silicones around here in the shop. This is the Platsil 7111. This is a really soft but really stretchy and strong platinum silicone formula, and it holds up really good to production casting of both resin products as well as castable rubbers. Now for this one we'll be casting the CF-50. Now CF-50 is on the lower end of the spectrum of the new castable rubber series, the CF series from BJB. Now CF series runs, I believe, a 50, 60, 70, 80, and 95. And of course, as with any of our rubber products, this is measured on the A scale. So 50 Shore A is going to be a little bit firmer than the sole of a running shoe, for instance, but a little bit softer than a car tire. Now, to do this, we're going to normally the CF series rubber comes out kind of a cream color rubber, which is ideal for pigmenting, which is its whole purpose, is for prototyping soft, flexible objects. But in this case, for a good background to our metallic colors, we're going to be using black PolyColor mixed in to get a black color as our background. So real important that the mold is clean and free of any release agents. Remember that any release agents can really screw up your painting process later on. If for any reason you have to paint this, you're going to have to first degrease that part. So it's always better off starting with no mold release when you're working with a good silicone mold. Now to start off, I'm going to be brushing in the gold powder because that's going to allow me to do the edge and the R. And I use two different brushes for brushing in those powders. And that way I don't accidentally cross-contaminate that. And one of the reasons I like to keep a cast logo here is just to remind me visually which one goes where, because it's easy to forget. And the way these powders work, you just dip the brush in there and grab a little bit on the end of the brush, and then we're just going to brush that right into the silicone mold. And as with any kind of painting, the better quality brushes, the better quality results you'll get. And it's a good idea if you do a lot of this just to dedicate a couple of brushes just for the process of brushing these pigments into your molds. Now this particular mold was loaned to us by Cup Creations, and Cup Creations, they do a lot of cosplay logos and emblems and things like that. So you can check them out on Instagram at Cup Creations, and that's Cup with two P's. Again, we can go back in there and do a little bit of cleanup work with your fingers if you get a little bit of powder where it shouldn't go. And again, Patrick of Cup Creations has much steadier hands than I do, so his logos come out immaculate, whereas mine look a little iffy. But again, we can go back in there, and if we're careful, we can pull that powder back out. Okay, now we're ready for the black. And again, we're using a different brush for that, and I'm going to hit these areas where I overdid a little bit on the gold. And a little bit goes a long way. One of these little jars is a lifetime supply for most mortals. Okay, so we've got our two colors put in. Like I said, I don't have the steadiest of hands, but I think we still got a pretty good look to that. So we've got, you can see the way that picks up the light there. Notice that that black really has, that almost a blue, almost a little bit of blue to it. So it's almost a metallic blue kind of color. And the way this works is, even though we're just brushing those powders into the surface, When we come back on top with the urethane, the castable urethane, urethane, as we've mentioned before, is essentially an adhesive material. So what we're relying on here is the urethane to bond to that iridescent powder and then pull that out of the mold with the cast. So once we brush that in, that is ready to go to be pulled out with the cast. So that's one of the reasons you want to keep that a really thin veneer of powder, because if you over apply that, if you cake that on too much, then when you pull that out, you're going to have extra coming off. So you want just a thin veneer of powder that bonds to that urethane rubber once it's cast. Now it's time to mix up our CF-50 casting rubber. This particular formula and most all of the CF formulas are 2-to-1 mix ratios. So 2 parts of B to 1 part of A. And anytime you're using a rubber like this, make sure you always read the data sheet, make sure you read the instructions and the labels, because that's where the ratio is. So in this instance, again, we have 2-to-1 by weight, and both the parts say shake well before use. So we're going to do that. And again, shake each part before use. And by the way, quick word about the shirt I'm wearing. Many of you have asked about these totally awesome shirts. And if you look down below the video description, you will see that they are now available for sale. This is the Biddy Mold Supply shirt, so be sure to check that out. We have a whole arsenal of branded merchandise of shirts and whatnot that you can wear to show off your Biddy street colors. Now ready to measure out our 2 components. We're going to measure out the part B first. Now since this is 2-to-1 mix ratio by weight, we're starting with 100 grams of the B component. And now I'm going to mix in a little bit of PolyColor black. And the reason I'm mixing it into the B first is if I mix it in after I mix the 2 components, then I lose valuable working time mixing that all together and getting that color right. So at this point, I can check the color because it's not going to go through a color change like we have with like the Easy Flow resin series. So what you see is what you get. So if I'm happy with that color, then I'm ready to move along. If not, I can go ahead and tweak that, add other colors, whatever I need to do. If you're looking for a really nuanced color, it's a really good idea to add the pigment in small amounts and bring it up to the level that you want, because you can always add more color, you can't take it back out. So once we've got that pigmented to our liking, we're ready to add our part A. Quick word though, those of you new to these kinds of materials, remember as soon as you add the part A, the clock starts ticking, so make sure everything in your universe is ready to go, because if you add the part A and you forget something, remember the chemicals are stupid, they don't know what you intend to do, so even if you haven't mixed it, they start doing their dance as soon as the part A goes into the part B. So the mixing, it doesn't care about your mixing time or anything else. You have about a 5-minute working time from the time this touches this. So real important, and that working time does not care about how much time you spent mixing, pouring, anything else. So we want to get this mixed and poured as soon as possible. So again, we have about a 5-minute window to pour that, and about an hour, a little over an hour till that we're ready to demold. And also really important to remember that that is at 70 degrees. If we're working colder than that, it's going to be slower. Hotter than that, it's going to be faster. So this being December, I'm working in a heated shop right now. The temperature here is right around 70 degrees. So we should easily have that demold time of around, right around an hour. So the other thing too is, remember, if you get down below 60 degrees, you're going to have some issues with it curing with full strength. So make sure that you're always working at around 70 degrees or warmer to make sure you get full physical properties, because otherwise sometimes materials will gel, but they don't cure with a full tear strength that they need to. So in order to get all those properties on the data sheet, it has to be cured at 70 degrees or warmer. Okay, now we put our part A in. We're ready to mix that up. Now the more astute viewer might have noticed I have another mold sitting out here on my workbench, and that is for extra material because a 150 gram batch could really do about almost 3 of these logos. But one of the things you'll find when you're working with materials like this, when you work in really small batches, you have to be very careful about your mix ratios and making sure you are spot on, because when you start getting below about 50 grams, it starts getting very difficult to make sure everything is accurate, because sometimes some gram scales might have a margin of error of a gram or 2, and if they do, then being off by a gram or 2 grams could really mess up your ratio. So we are now ready to pour. And remember, good mixing always includes scraping the sides and the bottom of the mixing container, and also scraping off your stir stick. One of the things I really like about the CF series is they do pour nice and thin, so it allows me to kind of aim that pour area around. And one of the things Patrick was telling me about is he actually pours these up in 2 different colors of casting rubber. Now, I am not that brave, so I am just going to use 1 color. There we go. There's our piece. And the one thing you want to be careful to get this poured as fast as you can early in the pot life of the material is so that if there's any little bubbles hanging around, they have a chance to rise up and break. Because if you wait till the last little part of the pour time or the pot life, you're going to have those getting stuck on their way up. Now ready to pour out the rest. This is why I always like to keep some small molds sitting around to take up that extra casting material. And that way none of that goes to waste. Because again, working in small batches is always risky. Sometimes when you're trying to mix and measure, say, 20 or 30 gram batches, you'll find that you get really inconsistent parts. So it's better to mix a larger batch and even have a gang mold or a series of molds that you're pouring into rather than trying to accurately mix 20 grams at a time. Now I always like to keep this, whatever's left in my mixing cup, handy so I can use that to gauge what's happening in these molds, because when you're doing really critical parts, the last thing you want to do is start sticking your finger in stuff to test and see if it's cured. This is telling you exactly what's happening here. So use that as a way to be able to test what's happening here. So now that everything's poured, we're ready to step back and let it cure completely. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. It's been a little over an hour, so we should be ready to demold our Cosplay logo. Again, this is CF-50 casting rubber. And when this is cured completely, it's going to be like this. This is a part that's been cured for about a week, and it has a nice, tough consistency. It's flexible, but not too floppy. The 50 is good for medium softness prototype parts and skinning some larger weapon props. But that's about the consistency it's going to have when it's completely cured. You'll see when I pull this piece out here, and again, this is my less critical piece, whereas this is my emblem with the pigmented powder, so I want to be very careful about this one, and this is a good way to judge and make sure this is ready to demold before I pull this one out. And it's a little bit on the green side. You'll see how that's still fairly flexible, but it is ready for demolding. So now we're going to set that aside. And there is our finished logo. And you'll see it caught all the detail, and our powder, other than that overflow, this looks really nice. And in the early stages, in that kind of green stage, that's when it's going to be the easiest to trim. So we want to do this right away, especially if you're working with the harder CF series rubber like the CF-95. That one is really tough and cures almost like a hard plastic, more of a semi-rigid material, but that one is much easier to trim when it's green right out of the mold than later on. So there you have our finished cosplay logo for an unnamed superhero, whoever he might be, who has the first name of R with the initial R. So there you go. Casting cosplay logos using our iridescent powders and a 7111 mold, and of course the CF series casting rubbers. So hope that helped you all out. If any of you have some tips you want to share on using iridescent powders or powder pigments brushed into silicone molds, be sure to put your comments in the section below. And again, those of you new to our channel, be sure to click on the subscribe button down there and of course the bell icon so that you get notified when we create new content. And check us out on Instagram at @BittyMoldSupply. We post a lot of things on Instagram that don't necessarily lend themselves to a video here. And of course, we have our latest product guide. This is the Murder Hornet edition, so be sure to check that out. Many of you have probably already gotten this with your latest order. If you haven't, feel free to request one. We'll throw one in your order for free if you request it. Otherwise, you can always order that online if you want this just by itself. Thanks again for watching, and again, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe.